So let's start with the definition first of sort of the mathematical definition of a percent. So percent is technically, it's a ratio. So we find the percent by using a ratio of a number as compared to 100. So a percent sort of tells us how much out of 100, if we use 100 as our whole number, the ratio of that amount out of 100. Okay, if we are talking about Latin roots, do we do any Latin roots in Membean? Yeah. What is cent? What does that Latin root cent mean? How many years are in a century? 100. Good. 1 cent, a penny, 1 cent is 1/100th of a dollar. So per cent means per 100. So we're always taking percents out of 100. A percent is an amount out of 100. When we're talking about percents and fractions, if we can get a denominator of 100 in our fraction, then we can write it as a percent. We take the numerator and put a percent symbol on it. So we'll talk about this. If it's not all 100% making sense now, that is okay. It will make sense in a moment. Okay, here's our first example. No, I don't think you need to write it out if you don't want. So here's what it says. It says write 35% as a fraction in simplest form. So what we're going to do, this is what you do need to write, is we're going to take 35% and change it to a fraction. Remember what we said percent means. What does it mean? Out of 100, per 100. So we take the percent sign off. We put 35 as a numerator per 100. So we take the percent sign off. We put the 35 as a numerator, and we put it over 100, or per cent. And that changes it from a percent into a fraction. Then, as always, with all fractions, we must put it in simplest form. So this is not simplest form. These are both divisible by miles? 5. These are both divisible by 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So 35% as a fraction in simplest form is 7 over 20. Yes. Try this one. Write 100% as a fraction.
Wouldn't that just be 1?
Sure would. So we're going to take 100%. We're going to drop the percent sign and put 100 in our numerator per 100%. And then we have to simplify this. What is 100 over 100? 1. So 100% is really one whole, right? If you eat 100% of your lunch, you eat all of it. The whole thing. David. Oh, hold on. I don't want to do that D yet. Let's do this one. Okay, this one says write 174% as a mixed number. So rather than an improper fraction, we're going to write this as a mixed number. I'm going to do it the same way. 174%. I will take my 174 and put it as my numerator per 100. So now I've got it into a fraction. Now I need to make it into a mixed number. So 100 goes into 174 one time. So our big number in our mixed number is going to be 1. How many are left over when I pull 100 out of 174? 74. 1 and 74 hundredths. but we must simplify. The 1 is still out there. These are both divisible by 2. I feel like there's probably something bigger, but I can't think of it. Is it 4? I think it maybe just is 2 then. 2, so 74 divided by 2 is what?
3750.
No, not 3750, just 37. 37 over 50. Oh, that's what you're saying. Yes. Divide each of these by 2. We get 1 and 37 50ths. That's the answer. That is our mixed number. This fraction is the same thing as this percent. It is just written in a different form. Okay? Let's do another one. How about this? Write 5% as a fraction in simplest form. So do our same thing. 5%. We're going to change this to a fraction. So we put the 5, we drop the percent sign, put the 5 in the numerator per 100. And then we have to do what? Simplify. Yes, please don't say the answers out loud. Just raise your hand and I will call upon you. So we get 1/20. 5% as a fraction is 1/20. Percents to fractions. Now we need to be able to go the other way from fractions, if we're given a fraction, to be able to write it as a percent. So to write fractions as percents, write an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100, right? We want the denominator to be 100 so that we can make it a percent. And then write the numerator with a percent symbol. And voila, you've got your percent from a fraction. So here we are given a percent, a fraction, and we want to get to a percent. So I'm going to start with 3 over 50, and I want to get this to a fraction that has a denominator of 100. So an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of 100. So Colin, what should I do?
So you would times 2 because 3 times 2 is 6, and then you have to 50 to make out 100.
Right. To go from 50 to 100, to get that denominator of 100, we multiplied by 2. And in order for the fraction to be equivalent, we need to do the same thing in the numerator. 3 times 2 is 6. So now we have 6 per 100, or 6, and put a percent sign on it. Take our numerator and put a percent sign on it. When your denominator is 100, you can take your numerator and stick a percent sign on it, and now you have a percent from a fraction. Letter B. Write 9 over 1,000 as a percent. Oh my goodness. Okay, good. With your hand. David, what did we do to get from 1,000 to 100?
Times like 2, 5.
Somebody said it. I thought with a hand. Can you raise your hand? Tate, thank you for raising your hand. What do?
You divide it by 5, I think. No.
Bigger. 10.
What? No.
Divide by 10.
Yes. Oh, that's 10,000.
Divide by 10. If we divide the bottom by 10, we must do the same thing on the top in order to keep the fraction equivalent. Okay? So, here's what we do. We move the decimal point. When we divide by 10, we move the decimal point one place to the left. To divide by 10, we move the decimal place one place to the left. So what is 9 divided by 10? 0.9. Can you write that as a percent? Sam?
0.9%.
0.9%. You can say 0.9 or you can just say 0.9. The 0 just helps make sure you see the decimal, basically, right? But it is still correct just to say 0.9%. Write 1.5 as a percent. Write 1 1/2 as a percent. What should I do first? What should I do first? What do you think, Modibo?
Turn the mixed number into an improper.
Very good. Turn the mixed number into an improper fraction. Let's do that first. So 1 1/2 as an improper fraction is 3 halves. And then what do we need to do next? Colin.
Times by 50.
Good.
For denominator and times by 50.
Very good. We want to get a denominator of 100 because we're ultimately trying to get this to be a percent. So to go from 2 to 100, we multiplied by 50. Which means if we multiply by 50 in the denominator, we also must multiply by 50 in the numerator. What's 3 times 50? Modibo? 150. So then, to write it as a percent, we take the numerator, 150, and put a percent sign on it. 150%. Affects 9 out of 12 Midwestern states. I mean, yeah, I would like at least write a condensed version of this. It affects 9 out of 12 Midwestern states. And then it says what percent of the Midwestern states are affected. What percent of the Midwestern states are affected? So we need to take this fraction and turn it into a percent. So I'm going to start with 9 over 12, but the issue here is that 12 can't go easily into 100, but
You can simplify it to 3 4.
yes.
And then
Hold on. I'm going to stop right there because I want to make sure everybody sees that. Do you guys see that we can simplify this 9 over 12? It's technically not in simplest form. And because it's not in simplest form, this 12 does not go easily into 100. It's going to be hard to move from 12 to 100. But if we simplify the fraction 9 over 12 to 3 over 4, then what can we do?
you can times 4 by 25.
Yes.
3 times 25 would be 75%.
Right. Then we can get it into 100. 4 goes into 100 easily. 4 times 25 is 100. 3 times 25 is, Liam?
75.
75. So what percent of the states were affected?
75.
75%. 75%.